Hello everyone. Hello. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in for another video. This is your girl Sophia, and today we're gonna talk about how do you fight your battle? How do you fight your battle? It is very important that you know how to fight your battle. It is very important that you use the right weapon to fight your battle. There are physical battles and there are spiritual battles. There are natural battles. There are spiritual battles. So you do not want to use physical weapon for a spiritual battle. A spiritual battle only can be fought only with a spiritual weapon, and this is what we're gonna talk about today. We're gonna break it down. When you use a physical weapon to fight a battle that is spiritual, it's a waste of time. You are not using the appropriate weapon, so your enemy always gonna win. You're not gonna win that battle because you are using the wrong weapon. A lot of time we fighting something. Everybody have their own struggle. Everybody have, in their life have their own fight. There is something you are fighting against, but sometimes you gotta take a look at what you're fighting. Is it a spiritual battle or is it a natural battle? Is it a physical battle? The Bible tell us in Ephesians chapter 6, it tell us we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but we wrestle against principality of the darkness of the dark world. We wrestle evil spirit. We wrestle demons. We wrestle principality of the dark world. We do not wrestle another human being. When the Bible said you do not wrestle flesh and blood, but you are wrestle something spiritual, that means you are not fighting another person. You are not fighting another human being. You might have a problem in your job with your boss, or you might having a problem with somebody, but you gotta take it a step deeper than that. You gotta take it further than that to understand that a lot of time it is not the person. It is a spiritual. It is a spirit that you are fighting through the person. It's not a person. So a lot of time we waste our time in fighting people. We think that the problem that we have, the issue that we have, it's with a person. So and it's a scheme of the enemy. It's the enemy wants you to think like that. The enemy wants you to think that you're fighting someone, because if he can have you thinking that you're fighting someone, you never gonna go after him. You always gonna go after that person. So eventually you will never win that fight. You will never win that fight. So it's an advantage for the enemy not to know that, not for you not to know that you are fighting him. He wants you to think that you are fighting your boss. He wants you to think that, your boss who's constantly after you, it's him doing it. So you do not take it further. You do not go deeper in your fight because you are so stuck on your boss. Remember the children of Israel, the children of Israel. Yes, they were in slavery. Yes, they were being mistreated for 400 years. Yes, they were. We saw that. We understand that. But it's something deeper than that. You know, the spiritual happened. The spiritual happened, but it takes place in the natural. So, for example, you might have a problem with money. You know, you might have a problem with money. You might have a problem like you don't manage your money right, and you might think, oh my God, no matter what I do, I can't, for some reason I can't manage, money can't stay in my hand. You know, by the time I get paid, I don't see what I do with my money. But it might be something spiritual. It might be that you are dealing with a spirit of poverty. It might be a spirit that preventing you from achieving your goals. You know, let's say there is someone who might wants to have kids, and for some reason they can't have kids. They go to the doctor and there is nothing wrong with them. Like the doctor said, I don't know why you can't have kids, because there is nothing wrong with them. Everything is right. So it might be something spiritual. It might not only be, oh, I don't know why I'm not having kids. It might be something spiritual. It might be, you know, an evil spirit that is operating against your life for you to have kids. So, you can just fight it with a physical weapon. You can just say, okay, I'm gonna keep going to the doctor until I find a solution. You can just say, oh, you know what? Maybe I didn't get and maybe I didn't have intercourse with my spouse at the wrong time, and now this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try to do this. I'm gonna try to do that. No, you have to take it another. You gotta take a step further than that. You know, that means whatever you are fighting, it's not physical. And another way, a way for you to find out if what you're dealing with is spiritual, it's when you have no explanation for it. Is when there is absolutely no explanation. You can't explain it. You know, there is no natural word. There's nothing else you can come up with. You just can't explain what's happening. Most of the time it's a spiritual thing. It's a spiritual thing. It's something that is being done in the dark world for you to reach your purpose, for you to go where God wants you to be, for you to do the things that God has called you to be. So it's just like something like an obstacle that the devil put against your life so you don't reach your full potential. So things like that happen. And I want you to understand today, you have to approach this battle with the right weapon. You can't just, you know, only do the physical. Yes, you know, the physical is part of it. You gotta do what you have to do in the physical, in the natural world. But at the same time, you have to, one of the spiritual weapon that you can use is prayer. One of the spiritual weapon that you can use again a spiritual battle is being on your knees, is to be in prayer. Prayer is a very powerful weapon. Very powerful weapon. The Bible tells us to pray, to never stop praying, to pray without ceasing. You have to continue. You always have to be in prayer. You have to have a prayer life. You can just pray one day and the next day you don't pray. You have to constantly be in prayer. You have to constantly calling the name of God. You have to constantly, you gotta have a prayer life. You can't be fighting something spiritual and not having a prayer life. A prayer life is what gives you access to the throne of God. A prayer life is what take you in front of God. A prayer life is what is gonna move mountain for you. A prayer life is what gonna change things for you. Prayer changes everything. So you imagine you fighting something spiritual. When you're fighting something spiritual, you can't see what you're fighting. You have no clue. You never know when you're gonna get the next hit. You just never know. But when you stay in prayer, you are fighting back. When you stay in prayer, you are throwing rocks. Whatever you are using, you are throwing spiritual rock. You are throwing arrows, spiritual arrows after the devil. But when you just stay without praying, you're not attacking the devil. You're not attacking. He's just attacking you, but you're not doing anything back. You're not attacking him. You're not doing the right thing. You're not doing anything. You're just taking all the hits from the devil, and you are not doing anything. You just staying there watching the devil. You're getting hit after hit. Years are going by. You just not doing anything. You gotta fight back. How do you fight back? You go down on your knees. How do you move angels on your behalf? You gotta keep praying. Remember in the Bible, how did Daniel, remember in the book of Daniel, the angel said, Daniel, God released the answer from the time you started praying, but I was being held by a principality of the dark world. So if Daniel did not continue to pray, if Daniel did not have a prayer life, his angel would have lost in front of the principality of the dark world. So this is the reason why we have to continuously stay in prayer, because prayer is gonna make you win that battle. Prayer is gonna make you win that fight. Prayer is gonna change things in your favor. When you can't say anything, when you can't see anything in the dark world, in the spiritual world, your prayer is what is gonna speak for you. Your prayer is what's gonna move mountain for you. Your prayer is what's gonna move things around for you. So you gotta have a prayer life. You have to be on your knees. You don't give up. Keep being on your knees. Another spiritual weapon that we have is to fast. Fasting is very good. It's good for you not only to have a prayer life, but you have to have a fast life. You gotta have a life where you fast all the time. You have to. Jesus told us in the Bible, he said, when the disciple came to him and they said, Jesus, how come we were not able to cast those demons out of this man, but you the moment you came, the demon flee. What did we do wrong? We've been walking with you all these years. We seen what you did, and we basically did the same thing. How come we were not able to cast those demons? In another word, how come we were not able to fight those demons? Those demons stayed there. How come we were not able to do that? And Jesus said, those demons do not answer. Those demons are not being cast out only by prayer. But he said those demons will be cast out by prayer and fasting. Those demons will be cast out by prayer and fasting. So fasting is another spiritual weapon that Jesus has given you. Not only you stay in prayer, but from time to time you fast. Don't let a month go by without fasting. Don't let a week go by without fasting. Fast. Have a prayer life. Keep fasting, because this is another medicine for the demon that are in your life. This is another medicine for the for your enemies, for your spiritual enemies. This is another demon. You are sick, you are constantly sick, but every time you go to the doctor said, and there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing, I don't see anything wrong. First of all, you're gonna go in prayer. Second of all, you're gonna have a fasted life. You're gonna have to fast, because Jesus told us, when you combine prayer with fasting, you're going to be able to withstand those demons. You're going to be able to withstand those evil spirit that is preventing you to reach your purpose, that is preventing you to live your life to a full potential. So that is a second weapon. Another spiritual weapon that we have is obedience. Obedience. Forget about prayer, fasting, if you don't have a life of obedience in front of God. Forget about prayer, forget about fasting if you do not obey God. It's good to pray, it's good to fast, but you must obey God. What good is it if, yes, you praying, yes, you always in communication with God, but when God is giving you an instruction for your fight and you don't follow the instruction, what good is it to pray and to fast? And then God is talking to you and God is telling you, okay, today is not the day to go out to fight. Today, I, the Lord, will fight for you. Just stay in your home, be still, and you're not following what God is telling you. You're going out. So when you do that, when we don't obey God, we are not under his grace. When we don't obey God, we are not protected because we're doing our own thing. So obedience is another thing that is it's another spiritual weapon that you have. It's another spiritual weapon that you have to use against the devil. Because remember, the devil always wants you not to obey God. Because he knows the moment that, you do not obey God, you're no longer under the grace of God. You're no longer under the will of God. You're no longer protected. So he doesn't want you to obey God. So that's a third weapon that you have. Obey God. No matter how difficult it is, no matter how stupid it might sound, no matter how ridiculous the whatever the instruction that God is giving you. You need to obey God. But another spiritual weapon that we have is faith. Faith. Where is your faith? You always dealing with God, you always gonna need your faith. You need your faith. By the way, faith is a gift. This is something that you can pray. If you find yourself not having enough faith, in the things of God, this is something you can pray about. You can say, God, give me more faith. I need the faith of Abraham. God, I need more faith. Add a little more faith unto what I have, God. And even Jesus said, if you have faith like a mustard seed, if you have a mustard seed faith, you can move mountains. Sometimes we don't even have the mustard seed faith. So sometimes on your prayer, say, God, just give me, a mustard seed faith, because I know that's all it requires to move mountain. Just give me that. Or God, continue to stretch my faith. Give me more faith. I'm weak in that area. So this is something you can pray about, by the way. Faith. You need faith. In a battle, in a fight, you're gonna need faith. Where's your faith? Where's your faith? Where's your faith, women of God? Where's your faith, men of God? You gotta have your faith. Hebrew 11 tell us about faith, and it says faith is being sure of the thing we hope for and certain of the things that we do not see. So you are in a battle, you are in a fight, and you know that you are gonna win the fight. You know that what God has spoke to you about, you know what God has shown you. A lot of time, your physical eyes is gonna tell you different. You're gonna see something different than what God has told you. Your physical eyes is gonna show you something different than what God has told you. Your physical eyes is gonna show you something different than what you are hoping for. Your physical eyes is gonna show you something different than what you are hoping for in this fight. In this fight, you're hoping to have your kids. You know, in this fight, you're hoping to be healed. And for some reason, every time you go to the doctor, the disease is still there. For some reason, when you go every month, you know you're gonna get pregnant, and every month you keep seeing your period. So your physical eyes is telling you something totally different than what you are hoping for. Guess what? What's your faith? Your faith is something spiritual. It's not something that you can see. It's something that you cannot see. It's something that you're hoping for. It's something that God has spoken to you about. It's something that you want. It's something that you desire. That's what your faith is. And you know that even though you're seeing your period every month, you know that you're going to have this child. That's what faith is. That is what faith is. Faith is, being bold. And I know this is going to happen for me. I know my God is going to work for me. I know my God is fighting for me. And the devils are going to, every time you're in a fight with the devil, he's going to, things are going to look like, contrary than what you are hoping for. And what are you going to do? Are you going to give up? Are you going to cry? No. That's why I said, where is your faith? Where's your faith? Where is your faith? Your faith, the Bible said, we walk by faith and not by sight. We walk by faith. Your faith is something spiritual. You cannot touch your faith. There could be evidence of your faith. Your evidence of your faith could be like, okay, no, I'm still getting ready for this baby. I'm still getting this crib ready because I'm going to have this baby. I'm still getting this ready. That's evidence of your faith. Evidence of your faith is, I'm not sick. You don't act like you're sick. That's evidence of your faith, but your faith is something that you cannot touch. You cannot see it. It is something that we are hoping for. It's something that, it's a demonstration of something that we are certain, something that we know that eventually the end goal is I'm going to have this or I'm going to have that. That's what faith is. That's another weapon that you need. Start stretching your faith. No matter what the devil is telling you, be like, no. No matter what's the devil, no matter what your spiritual, your natural eyes are telling you, no, you stick to your faith. You stick to your faith. Stick to your faith. There was never someone in the Bible, as we have as example, that stick to their faith, who lost the battle or who lost their fight or who lost their fight. No, they always win their battle. They always came out victorious. So we are called to do the same thing. We do it by faith. And another spiritual weapon that you need, is to be consistent. Is to be consistent. You cannot be fighting and you are not being consistent. You need to be consistent in your fight. You need to be consistent in your battle, because guess what? Your enemy, he's a spiritual thing. He's a spiritual being. Your enemy is never tired. Your enemy doesn't lose one opportunity to keep shooting at you. Your enemy does not. So you cannot give up. You have to keep going in your fight. You have to keep fighting until you put this enemy down, until this enemy is under your foot, until you have, you gain the authority to walk over this enemy. You cannot give up. You cannot give up. Yes, that's true. Someday you might need a break, but the next day, get up again and fight again. The next day, get back on your knees. The next day, get back on your fast. The next day, get back on your faith. Get back with your faith. You know what I mean? Find people that can encourage you, that can encourage your faith. Find people that can, pull your faith back up for you. That can pull your faith. The next day, get back to your spiritual weapon. You know, it's okay sometimes to take a break, but you cannot give up. You know, the moment you give up, that's the moment the enemy wins. The moment that you said, okay, I'm tired of fighting, that's the moment the enemy wins. Remember the woman with the issue of the blood, 12 years. What really delivered this woman is because of her faith. You know, she go to Jesus and she was like, today is my day. I don't care what's gonna happen, but I'm gonna grab the hem of his garment. In the same moment, she got healed. The same moment she got healed. You cannot stop. I know it has been a long time. I know you have been praying, but you cannot give up. You cannot give in. You can't. You gotta keep fighting. You gotta keep fighting. Don't fight only with your physical strength. You gotta pull your spiritual strength as well. You know, you gotta pull your spiritual weapon. You know, start pulling your spiritual weapon for the fight that you are in right now. Start pulling your spiritual weapon for the fight that you are in right now. You are in a fight. You know, and it's not your mind playing games. No, you know exactly you are in a fight. You know what exactly you are fighting. You know what is missing in your life. You know that thing that is an obstacle to your life. You know that thing, every time you try to go in and that thing is just stopping you. You know it. You know it. You already know it, you know, because this is something that's, you know, constantly in your face. This is something that constantly, the enemy is constantly in your face. And when I talk about the enemy, it's not only the enemy when we see in Satan and all that. The enemy, not being able to have a child is an enemy. You know, because if God called you to have a child and you cannot have a child, that spirituality is your enemy. You know, if God call you to be to graduate school, to graduate college, and you for some reason you can never pass your class, that's an enemy. That's an enemy. So your enemy could be that thing, that wall that's standing in front of you from reaching your goal. That could be your enemy. And you cannot just sit down and just say, you know what, this is not for me. I'm just gonna give up. Did God tell you it's not for you? You're making that decision on your own. Did God ever told you that you cannot have kids? Did God ever told you that you will not graduate school? Did God ever told you that you will not become a doctor? Was it from God, or it was the enemy that was telling you that you will never be a doctor, and you got comfortable with what the enemy, and you agree spiritually, you agree with the enemy, and now you just said, okay, I'm not gonna become a doctor anymore. I'm just gonna settle for being whatever. It was not from God. You know, make sure that, you know, you are going according to what God is telling you, because the enemy can tell you anything. You know, just because you're not able to pass your class, just because you're not able to do this, to do that, that doesn't mean that's not who God is calling you to be. That doesn't mean that's not where God is taking you. That just doesn't mean it. It just means that you are fighting an enemy. It just means that you're fighting a principality, and you need to put that principality down with your spiritual weapon, of course. So I'm gonna go over the spiritual weapon. Prayer. Be on your knees. Be on your knees. Fasting. Right? Fasting. Faith. Being consistent, and do not give up. Being consistent and do not give up. So I hope this video was helpful in your fight. Keep pushing, keep going. God is not gonna give up on you, so do not give up on yourself. Keep fighting. God already told us that we have the victory. You already have the victory. You're more than a conqueror. You already conquered this thing. You already have the victory. As long as you're walking with God, as long as you're walking with Christ, your victory already guaranteed. All you gotta do is just fight through this. That's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do. So I hope this video was helpful. Thank you so much again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, to share, like, and comment. And I'll catch you on the next video. Bye-bye.